thing I love most about drag is just how extra it is. It's people coming together, expressing themselves in ways that they normally wouldn't. I think that expressing yourself is an art form. Gender and sexuality in itself for me is an art form.
I love the environment of performing, and I love the people surrounding it. I love the praise because I'm an attention whore.
Drag is a sort of release form in a way, and like a extra part of myself that I can have a little bit more fun with.
First time I ever performed in drag, I was very lucky because everyone was drunk. There was an amateur drag event happening down in Nowra, where I'm from, and it was the most exciting time that I've had in drag.
I don't think you know, but I've only just been doing drag for about 7 months in total. Yeah. I know, right? It's pretty crazy. My drag mother's actually Roxy Horror. I went to one of her shows at the Spiegel tent in Wollongong. After that show, I was just like, you know what? I think I could do drag. I really think I could. And from there, I was just like, you know what? Let's kick this straight into gear and just fuck it. Just go for it.
Give me time to fucking find a song first.
My drag persona, she is Jay-Once. She's gorgeous, she's fierce. She's a bearded queen. I don't shave these off. Because, you know, she likes to keep herself nice and structured.
I think it was around 2019 I first performed in drag. It was such an incredible expression of art and performance and self that I was seeing, and such a unique take on drag from every single different performer. And I started seeing people who were AFAB performing in drag in feminine drag personas, which was completely new to me, and I thought, I can do that.
Nikki Carriage is my drag mother from home. She put me in drag for the first time and I look busted as hell. She's also a trans woman, and she helped me to understand like the differences between being a trans woman and being a drag queen, and using drag as an art to express gender and the rules about gender and how they're idiotic in a way. When I first started seeing drag, I was very new to the gay scene. I was identifying as a trans woman at the time, and when I was figuring out my gender identity, I wanted to express gender when I didn't have it. So when I realized that I was non-binary and that I could play with these gender roles and show how stupid in a way they are, I was like, okay, I can be happy and do this and not label myself as something that I know I'm not.
Drag means to me, it is definitely a form of art for myself. I know a lot of drag queens, they use it as sort of like a gender identity realization journey, but for me, drag is purely sort of like an art form and embracing the sort of feminine and masculine parts about myself. I find myself very androgynous in my drag. I don't put tits in, I don't put an ass in. I sort of just like use my own body.
Without Beau Noir, I probably wouldn't be as confident with my masculine side of myself. It really gives you that opportunity to just show parts of yourself that you would not feel confident doing. It's very affirming to perform, to bring out that kind of side of me that I don't normally get to bring out.
For me, as somebody who's like non-binary, it allows me to explore my femininity in ways that feels extremely comfortable and vulnerable in such an accepting group of people. Bio queens or AFAB queens, it feels like there was considerably less acceptance, and there's become more and more and more I've seen over the years, because they see that it's okay now. It can be anything. It doesn't even have to be just strictly feminine or masculine. It can be blending everything. It can be nothing. That's what I think is so incredible about it.
I find that when I am performing, I am performing as a persona, just kind of hints of who I am as a person while being a completely different person. Charlie Chaplin is always the one that I refer to the most. I like to glamorize it a little bit, knee-high boots and the kind of feminine makeup, because I think that's a really fun balance of the two for me.
With my drag style, I like to be perceived as womanly as humanly possible. I like the accentuation of big hips, big boobs.
Serve just big slut energy, for sure. Putting a drag persona on, getting yourself in drag is almost like a superpower, supersuit. And I know quite a few people within my community, in my drag community, that have, you know, anxiety, but when they get in drag, they turn into somebody else, and that, I think it breaks open that sort of inner saboteur.
I do feel like I use Paris as like a shield of armor. Having that worry of how am I being perceived, all of those worries disappear as soon as you step onto stage.
People see you in that, and they are seeing what you are presenting and putting forward, so it almost feels like it's not me, it's Phoenix. While it still feels like we are interchangeable beings, I still create those separate sort of ideas. Whenever I'm Phoenix, I feel like I can take control of every single person in the room, which is something that normally, absolutely not.
My friends have always been really supportive of what I've done. When it comes to, say, my parents necessarily, there was some hesitation and kind of pushback on that because it is not what they expected of me, not what most people expect of me, but in this situation they were concerned at a risk of kind of, I suppose, embarrassing myself or just not being who I was or who they understood me to be.
I used to live in a small rural town where nothing was accepted. My mum would always say, just don't go out in that here. Being like an Indigenous person, I see that as my home. I was born there, I was raised there, that's where my blood comes from. It was really like damaging in my soul to hear like, as much as we love you, we don't love you here.
The first couple of times they didn't come to performances or they didn't really understand what I was doing, but when they ended up coming because they saw that it was harmless and I was enjoying myself, then that was really the kind of like, how bad can it be?
Having my second family like come up from my hometown, they saw how happy I was and they get it, and that makes me really happy.
I feel for so many people that have had it so much worse than me. I'm really privileged to have had it my way, and it's probably a lot to do with the fact that I'm like AFAB, female presenting, regardless of anything else.
I don't give two shits about what people think about me. You know, like I've been in situations like, you know, physical situations before and stuff like that because of how people see me and like obviously being outwardly gay. Like I've been headbutted before in a club, you know, like that's, you know, things like that happen, but like I always sit back and I'm like, that's not my problem. You're the one with the problem here. Like, but there obviously is like that, you know, that talk like, are you comfortable being up on the stage and stuff like that? I'm just like, well, you know what, I never really have been, but let's just do it anyways. I feel like there should be a lot more advertisement. I think people are a bit scared. I feel like there's a lot of closed-minded people with businesses, but what's there not to accept? We're fun people, like, fuck off.
Oh, yeah! I saw that on the list and I was like, yeah. Yeah!
We need designated queer places in Wollongong, not just places that have queer events. We need designated places that are safe all the time. I've gone to just nights out drinking with friends who are transgender, who are queer, who have been not let into locations.
For non-binary and drag kings, there's not as much representation, and bio queens. Like, I feel like there's a shift coming in Wollongong, and I'm very excited about it because there are some very passionate people out there that are doing some very passionate work.
Going around and performing and seeing people's smiling faces and them just being in awe is just the best feeling. And you know what? It's helped a lot of people as well. Like I've had people come to me and be like, you know what? You being you, you've like literally saved my life. And that in itself is like something to not be like, oh, I'm just going to throw this drag career away, because I'm not going to do that. If it's helping somebody in their life, I'm going to keep on doing it. And that just shows like being yourself in general you never know what impact you could have on somebody.
Coming up on stage and feeling that love from a room, it really makes me want to stay in the art form of drag so I can keep expressing the way I want to.
As someone who has like almost like severe social anxiety, I felt that it was going to be an opportunity that I was going to be kicking myself if I didn't take. The second that the music starts and that you hear everyone cheer for the first time, like mid-performance for something that you've done, everything just kind of falls away. Instead of trying to overcome your fear, just do things scared. And even if you're scared, at least you're doing it.
So if anybody comes to me and they're just like, oh, I'm thinking about doing drag, but I don't know because like I'm really shy and nervous and like I feel like I wouldn't go too well on stage, I'd be like, babe, shut the fuck up. Because like chuck yourself in drag, jump up on that stage and embrace it. The fear goes away. No, nothing in the bag.
It's been a bit of a blur for the last 20 minutes.
Right? I know.